It can be challenging to know how best to spend your time. There's so much to do in this country. Which cities should you visit? Should you go to the islands? Is it hard to get around? To help you plan, we've laid out our exact itinerary for the 27 days we spent in Thailand. You can easily spend 2 weeks to a month in Thailand, but even if you don't have that much time, you can easily pick and pull the parts of our trip that look most interesting and include them in your own trip. Our journey began with a 5-day stay in Bangkok, the largest city in Thailand. Bangkok has 2 airports, and since we flew a short distance from Taiwan, we flew into the smaller airport, DMK. For longer international flights, you'll probably fly into BKK, located on the east side of the city. Bangkok is a giant city, so it can be tough to figure out exactly where to stay. After a bit of YouTube watching and blog reading, we decided to reserve an Airbnb on the west side of the city, closer to the backpacker area, not far from Khao San Road. For transportation from the airport to our hotel, we recommend downloading the Grab app. It's like Uber for Southeast Asia, and it seems to be available in all larger cities. It's typically very affordable. You'll get much cleaner cars that have seatbelts. You do pay in cash, but the app provides the final price to both you and the driver, so no haggling at all. For the next 4 days, we explored the neighborhoods around our Airbnb. It's a very walkable city, so we're able to use our feet and the canal boat transportation system to check out major sites like the reclining Buddha and Waterun. Your hotel or Airbnb host can provide information on how to ride the canal boats, but it was pretty easy. In terms of food, Bangkok is well known for its street food. However, being vegan, there weren't a ton of options. Good thing Bangkok is filled with lots of chill vegan restaurants. Our favorites were Ethos, May Katie's, and Mango. 5 days zoomed by pretty quick, and it was time for us to head south to Surat Thani. We chose Surat Thani because we wanted to visit one of the many national parks in Thailand, and the one we chose was Khao Sak National Park. We booked all of our flights within Thailand on AirAsia. They had incredible service, and all of the flights were on time for this entire month. Each one-way ticket costs an average of $50 US. Just make sure your carry-on bag weighs less than 7 kgs, or around 15 pounds, or they will charge quite a hefty fee if it's overweight. Check out our video about what we packed for Thailand to see which bags we used and how we packed. We were only questioned once for Karen's large backpack, which was tipping the limit. After a quick 1-hour flight, we arrived at the Surat Thani airport. We chose to rent a car to drive to the national park rather than taking a bus or a taxi. We pre-booked the car online through Priceline, so the process was quick and easy at the airport Avis. The price per day was around $23 US with unlimited miles. Since they drive on the other side of the road, I was a little nervous at first because I hadn't done that before, but after hopping on the freeway, it really wasn't difficult at all. Surat Thani is not very population dense, so it was mostly driving on open roads. After renting a car, we headed inland for a 2.5-hour drive to Khao Sak National Park. The drive was absolutely gorgeous, cruising through sections of the oldest evergreen rainforest in the world. Since we wanted an authentic jungle experience, we booked a room at a resort where you could sleep in rustic huts. It was a notch or two up from traditional camping, so we did get our fair share of mosquitoes and oversized bugs crawling around, but it was eco-friendly and had amazing Thai dinners, and the price was pretty budget-friendly. There were many options for rooms in the area, but we definitely suggest booking ahead of time. Some of the places were sold out. Khao Sak Park offers a variety of activities like hiking, swimming, elephant washing, so be sure to read about those ahead of time. We did a boat tour through the jungle, which was about a 45-minute drive from the resort, and this is why we're big fans of renting cars in foreign countries. A lot of freedom and accessibility. They did have buses available at our resort, but we prefer to just go out on our own pace and at our own schedule. After 3 days in the jungle, we were ready to check out a Thai island. We chose Koh Phangan as it was monsoon season for the western islands, which meant better weather on the Gulf side. Koh Phangan has less resorts and is less expensive than Koh Samui, but not quite as remote as Koh Tao. So we woke up early in the morning and drove back to Surat Thani Airport, dropped off the rental car, and purchased combo tickets at the airport for a bus transfer to the Don Sak ferry port and a ferry ride over to Koh Phangan Island. There was no need to book these ahead of time, which was great. We just showed up at the counter at the airport and purchased our combo tickets for around 15 USD each. The bus transfer from Surat Thani to the ferry port was about 1 hour long, and the ferry to Koh Phangan took about 3 hours. Once we were on the island, we hopped in the back of a local truck taxi called the Song Tao, and we made our way inland to a yoga retreat at Wonderland Healing Center. Here we spent 5 days on a yoga retreat, practicing yoga and eating a delicious vegan buffet. Wonderland is the most budget-friendly and all-inclusive yoga resort that you can find. With 1 more week left on Koh Phangan after the retreat, we decided to stay on the northwest side of the island, away from the full moon parties and the more touristy areas. We took a taxi to our hotel, which which was right next to Hod Sun Beach. We rented our scooter from our hotel, which most of the hotels have scooters available for rent, and it was an easy way to get around the island. Highly suggest getting a scooter since the streets aren't the easiest for walking long distances because there are a lot of hills and dangerous sharp corners. After a week, it was time to head back to the mainland, so we grabbed a taxi to the ferry port. We planned on taking the same traditional ferry that we took to get to the island, but due to the weather conditions, the ferries were delayed and being canceled. The ferry operator suggested that we take a high-speed catamaran instead. It was a little more expensive, about 25 USD per person, but we arrived in just 1.5 hours, so we thought it was worth it. Back on the mainland, we boarded large buses and headed to the airport to take our next flight. The bus was also included in the catamaran price, which made it much easier for everyone. They've got a really fast and efficient system of transportation for tourists. Back at Surat Thani Airport, this time heading up north to Chiang Mai. One thing we loved about traveling on these little flights throughout Asia is how efficient everything is at the airport. In the US, it seems like traveling domestically even is such a pain. There are flights canceled, long security lines. However, for our entire month-long trip, we had 0 delayed flights and we never had to wait in lines for more than 10 minutes. It was great. Once in Chiang Mai and having learned our lessons with taxis, we called a Grab. Best app in Southeast Asia, hands down. For the next 6 days, we stayed in an Airbnb in the Neiman district. Walking around the first night, it was shocking how modern and hip Chiang Mai is. For some reason, I was expecting some kind of small mountain village. Instead, it's a relatively busy city with tons of modern bars and restaurants. We toured the city, ate a lot, and took a few vegan cooking classes before wrapping up our Thailand trip. Overall, an absolutely incredible country to visit on your next holiday. Delicious food, stunning landscapes, friendly smiles, and as you can see, fantastic transportation options. We'll update you on how our itinerary goes for future trips where we plan to take things a little more rural. Hope this helps with your trip planning, and happy travels to you.